Yes, this is another maintenance contract. It's contract 2012-02 for pavement markings. We've received only one bid proposal for this contract this year. We've tabulated the unit prices that Volunteer Highway Supply provided this year and compared it with last year's unit prices. For the sake of comparison, for the most part, their prices have gone up. Some unit prices have stayed the same, but it is all within keeping with inflation, and it still compares favorably with state average prices for these items. We've worked with Volunteer for several years, and we've always been pleased with their performance. So staff recommends award of contract 2012-02 to Volunteer Highway Supply.
Discussion, motion. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Next one is consider approval of contract 2012-03, annual guardrail maintenance.
Yes, this item, contract 2012-03, the guardrail maintenance contract. We've only received one bid proposal. That was from Tennessee Guardrail. As we did in the last contract, we're comparing this year's unit prices from Tennessee Guardrail with their prices for the current year. And if you look at that tabulation, you can see that their unit prices actually went down considerably for this year as opposed to last year. And we've been very pleased with Tennessee Guardrail over the years, and staff recommends award of contract 2012-03 to Tennessee Guardrail Incorporated.
I had a question there. When you say maintenance of guardrail, what percentage of that would be the replacing it from somebody that's run over the thing, or it's actually maintenance as in repairing? Am I correct to believe that?
In some cases, it's repair. A lot of times, it's just replacement. It really just depends on how badly a piece of guardrail has been damaged.
Darryl, just out of curiosity, what happens when, does this include if you ever have to add guardrail? I know there's, last year, for example.
We have added guardrail under this contract.
That's part of this as well.
And that is under this as well. Yeah.
Okay, thank you. I'll move for approval.
All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? And the last of this series, consider approval of contract 2012-04, annual signal maintenance.
Yes, contract 2012-04, the annual signal maintenance contract. We have received only one bid proposal. That was from Progression Electric. I've tabulated their prices for this year compared to last year's prices, or the current year's prices. I guess current until next week. If you look down that list, you can see that some items have remained about the same. Some have increased by as much as 10%. That's certainly not unusual. But we have been very pleased with our work from Progression over the years, and staff recommends award of contract 2012-04 to Progression Electric.
Darryl, a question I would have just to educate me is this: why is this particular item something that the town of Farragut staff can't do, Bud's crew can't do? Do they have to be? I see these certified levels here.
Right.
Are you required by state or federal law to be certified to do this type of work?
Pretty much, yes.
Okay. And that's why our own staff can?
Correct.
Okay, thank you. With that said, I would move for approval.
I'll second it.
All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Next item is committee appointments. Now, we're just going to take a vote here to make it official what we did in the workshop.
We've skipped resolution 2011-08.
I did? Mm-hmm. Oh, sorry. Well, okay, that's resolution 2011-08, Economic Development Committee Charter Amendment. David, you talking about this?
Yes, sir. Just real quick, the EDC had made some recommendations early in the year regarding their strategic planning process, and part of those were to actually look at the charter and amend the charter to reduce the number of members from 15 to 9. They also talked about changing the town administrator was a voting position and making it an ex officio position or a staff liaison type position for that committee. And then the other option would be, or the other idea was, you'd actually have 8 at-large members and 1 member of the Board of Mayor and Aldermen would sit to make that a total of 9 members. Also, as we've gotten through the year, if you look at Section 5, disclosure of interests, we've also modified that language to clarify the voting by committee members who are either employed or serve as board members of other organizations that receive funding from the town of Farragut. So that's a little bit clearer there for in future meetings that we have and voting on different items. So with that, we would recommend your approval.
David, just one point or one question I would have. I read through this, and I just thought of something that I don't know if I missed it or not. I just want to make sure we don't end up. I like what we're doing. I like the intent, and I'm really not asking for a change. I just want to make sure we didn't make an error accidentally. If with the limitation on voting we've put in, could we ever end up in a situation where we would not have a quorum? Do we have? I just want to make sure we have the wording properly. You know, of the 9 members, if we ended up with 5 of them belonging to these other groups where they're no longer allowed to vote, could a vote still be done?
I believe that as long as you have the number of people there to start a meeting, that's your quorum. So
Okay, that's how this is set
if
up.
everybody
Okay.
but 2 decided to abstain, then those would be the 2 on record to vote for something.
Thank you. I just thought of that, wanted to make sure.
Amendment.
I'll make a motion that we approve the Economic Development Committee charter as amended.
Second.
All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Now the committee appointments.
I'm going to read to you who we've slated to be appointed. The Arts Council is Sandra Dean and Mary Agnes Schaefer. Beautification is Claire Insink, Kathy Pierre, Mabel Sumner, and Jerry Janot. Museum Advisory Board, Libby Haynes, Joyce Moran, Bob Linsell, Louis LaMarche, Carol Coker, Marion Bayless, Jack Moore, and Jerry Janot. Parks and Athletics Council, Loretta Bradley, Nadia Cogler, Ron Pincock, and Jack Moore. Personnel is Gary Schmitz, John Underwood, Cornell Ward, and Mary Ellen Rita. BZA is Louis LaMarche. Plumbing, Gas, Mechanical, Stephen Bird, Chris Duncan, Gary Edsell, Bernard Levinson, and Nick Moscow. Visual Resources Review Board, Linda Johnson, Marty Lehman, Noah Myers, Jim Hollis. Economic Development, David Purvis and Jim Nixon. Stormwater Advisory Committee, Patrick McMahon and Violet Freudenberg. And the School Liaison Committee is Michael Singletary and Mark Littleton.
So we're looking for a motion to approve the whole slate of
Yes.
nominees, appointments.
One question. In our workshop, I'd made the recommendation about adding a student to each of those. Is that something that we need to incorporate or not? I just want to make sure that,
We'll probably look at all their charters and see if
Okay.
we do need to add that to the charter or if we can just add it.
is there anything we need to vote on as part of that? or
Not tonight.
Okay, thank you. I would move for approval of the appointments then.
And that,
All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Town Administrators Report.
Mayor, just a couple of things tonight. Coming up here in the next week or so, we've got the July 4th festivities for the weekend. We have the Red, White, and Blues Parade that the Farragut Business Alliance is going to be spearheading. That's going to be July 3rd at the world headquarters of the Farragut Press. So that'll be in the field right there next to them. And then on July 4th, we have the actual parade that the town of Farragut puts on. That starts at 9:30, Sue? 9:30 at the Farragut High School, heading up Kingston Pike to Ingalls. So definitely looking forward to a exciting weekend planned for that. So with that, that's all I have.
I would like to commend Bud and the Public Works Department for a great job on the storm cleanup, and I understand you were involved to some extent, or helping out, or?
Well, I don't know if I was really involved a whole lot driving around, if that's involvement.
Okay.
That was a
No,
couple weeks ago.
Well, I noticed one on Kingston Pike in particular, a tree had fallen across just west of Weigel's and was blocking a lane or two, and Bud was filming it. Everybody was out there pitching in, and it was cleaned up within half an hour. I was by there again, it was gone. So great job.
We had actually a lot of storm damage this past week. A lot of trees down from the winds that came through, and Bud's guys got out there and cleaned it up in a hurry. So we have spent a little bit of overtime on storm cleanup the last couple of months, but they're doing a great job.
Thank you.
Associate Town Administrator's report. Did you go to that meeting today?
The redistricting?
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Want to say anything about it?
They just kind of went over actually what the process was going to be, kind of some roles and responsibilities of the committee, which basically are the same as they were back in '09. This committee is established by the commission to study and come out with a plan for redistricting of the 8 commission seats. So it's was a long meeting, but I don't want to say a whole lot wasn't done, but they took no action, and the next meeting is next month.
Okay, thanks. We're not gonna
Well,
let that
we hope not, and if that's the case, then we'll do what we can to try to keep that from happening.
Engineers report.
I have nothing to add tonight.
Recorder's report.
At your seats tonight, I added an invoice for you that came in actually today, and so I wanted to get it paid in this fiscal year. But it's for the Knox County Election Commission. It's going to be paid to the Knox County trustee, so that's going to be one of our items tonight. The first one, though, is Kramer Racing for $26,492.85. Mrs. Gail House for Track 9 for the Outlets Drive project, that's $40,000. BB&T, which is for a letter of credit from Scott Davis with Eagle Bend Realty, and you have an email describing what that information's for. And then, of course, the Knox County trustee for the election for $15,933.55.
So approve them all as a lump sum? Motion.
The payment of the bills.
Second.
All in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Attorney's report.
If we could, I'd like to have a short executive session, very short.
Okay.
I've said that before, but I think it'll really be short.
I'm turning on my stopwatch.